Claude has a lot of built-in features that I believe are underutilized and even underutilized by myself today. And so I want to show you exactly how you can get the most out of these built-in features for Claude that are available for you today. When I'm working with different people in a coaching engagement or with other clients, oftentimes one of the most helpful things I find to do is to show them how I work. And so that's what I want to do more with my YouTube channel. Actually show you all how I'm working, little nuggets of value that you can get out of these videos and then apply to your own workflows on a daily basis as you work with Claude, Claude Code, or other AI coding agents. So today I want to show you exactly how I utilize the insights command within Claude Code and how I'm applying it today within my workflow to help me improve my output and what I produce in every Claude Code session that I have. So in case you have never seen this before, this insights command is something that's built into every Claude. So whether or not you've installed a skill for it, it is going to be there as it's a part of the default installation of Claude. And to do it, all you need to do is simply type in insights here. And then what it's going to do, it's generating a report analyzing your Claude Code sessions. So as you can see above here, I ran this yesterday and it generated this report for me. And so then all I had to do was go to the Finder and then open it from that Finder folder. And then it presented me with this on my computer, where it gives you insights into what's working, what's hindering you, quick wins to try, ambitious workflows, where it really gives you an overall insight for past 84 sessions that I've had with Claude Code here too, really since the middle of July, for how I'm utilizing it and what I can be doing better. And gives you a lot of different things for like what you work on, how you utilize it, hooks, new ways to utilize it, as well as different things on the horizon that maybe you can implement and improve your Claude Code. And so the thing I decided to implement from this particular session was this adversarial multi-model review gate, where if you watch my videos in the past, one video in the 5 tips for Claude Code, I think I had a git ship command that basically automatically ships, merges your work onto a code base. And so that way you can stop typing, hey, commit, push, and merge this work. So it's really easy as a skill. And then in another video, I also had other AI coding agents actually reviewing my work too, where I called it AI friend review to stack different AIs on top of Claude Code. But what I've seen here with this analysis is that oftentimes I stack those two together, right? So if I am essentially going to ship work, or before I ship work, I want to run an AI friend review. I want to have my work checked by other coding agents. I didn't actually make it impossible unless other reviewers approve this work too. And so I didn't want to make it impossible because not all work requires such a detailed review, but it got me thinking, oh, this is definitely something I could utilize to make my workflow more efficient. That way I don't have to do an AI friend review, apply those reviews, and then ship the work after that too. It would be easier for me if I could just encapsulate that within one skill, one prompt, and move forward from there, knowing that, hey, this is following my shipping process to make sure that I am actually getting the review done on all the code that I want to be done on too. And so now, how did I actually implement this? Well, you can see here that the prompt is pretty much the exact same thing that appeared on it. It is the exact same thing since I copy and pasted it. And I started Claude in plan mode, and then it asked me a few different questions too, saying, hey, a skill can't make something structurally impossible, right? Because in order to make it structurally impossible, you have to implement via hook, which a hook is something that's going to run every single time at a certain gate. And then this is where my thought process went, right? Where I utilize Whisper to say, hey, I'm not sure I want it to be a hard gate. I would actually write like git ship to reference the friend review I've set up to. That way I have those two skills sort of embedded with each other. And you can see here it mistranscribed ship as ship. And then it also said the requirement two says sub agents. And again, I offered some more off the cuff feedback saying, hey, I'd like these reviewers to come from different models outside of Claude. And then asked me a few different questions too. And essentially what I found with this too, and what I've been seeing, and so I need to make changes here, is that my AI friend review skill has been failing with different reviewers, given that majority of these other reviewers here, I don't pay for a subscription for. So I'm limited to a lower model, a free tier. And oftentimes I find that the usage runs dry, especially if it is a bigger review task. And I also deny the plan and ask it to make sure to incorporate the newer rules for context engineering from Claude, which in case you haven't seen this particular blog post, I highly recommend it, given that Claude 5 models have sort of changed the game when it comes to the amount of context engineering, which I'm hoping to release a larger video around that topic as well, too. And so ultimately, I get to that place after reviewing, checking the AI friend review, checking my Git ship skill, reviewing the plan here. And so now what I would do, and what I did do, is I reviewed the plan here for the different changes that I was going to make just to make sure that it all looks good for me. And I'm not going to go through this line by line because it's quite a bit of text, but I have reviewed it. And now my plan is to launch it. And so to launch it from within this Claude interface, I'm just going to click accept and bypass permissions. And now it is off and going. And I'm recording this as a review. As you can see, this has been a longer session. Plus, I've been doing other stuff too. So I've had it up longer and haven't been checking it as diligently. But now it is launched. It is good to go. I have it on Opus 5 high because I want a smart model for this to make sure that we're able to test all of these changes, make sure AI friend review is working properly, make sure all the gates are working properly within this plan before we ultimately ship code. And we'll let this run. And once it is finished, we'll come back. I'll check back in and we'll see how this is actually working. And admittedly, coming back here, I sometimes have thoughts as it's generating, or I am looking at the plan and be like, I think I might have missed this. And so then I will type in another prompt here and say, hey, maybe as a part of this, the principal session, meaning the chief Claude session that is organizing everything, can judge whether or not something is a trivial or not change. And then from there, it can decide whether or not it merits an AI friend review or not. And I give it this session, right, as an example of, hey, I definitely want other AIs reviewing it, given that we're spanning multiple repositories. There is a little bit of complexity here, a little bit of testing that we want done. And so therefore, I'm going to require that for this change too. So giving it just that as an example, and we will fire this off. And right now it's unread, but within, the next few seconds or minutes, depending upon how long this next task goes, and we can see it just flipped from read that now Claude is considering it within its session. And so it's almost done thinking here. And then it said that it introduced a real bug and has my triage point too. So this is the process of what it happens when working with Claude at times, where sometimes it introduces bugs and sometimes you have different things that you think of during the process of working with it. So now it's going to resolve that bug it introduced and then consider my triage point. So now I'll actually come back once this finishes. Okay, picking this back up where I left it off here with this particular change. You can see along the side here, I've been busy in the interim, but basically the first thing I want to focus on actually is what's in this top right-hand corner here, where this is a really cool feature out of working within this Claude Code, and just another reason to look at your insights, because, hey, when you do different suggestions from Claude Code, it may find other things that you'll want to fix. So these are all suggested tasks that I'm not going to handle right at this moment. But for the triage point, we actually built out more of a deterministic workflow. And one of the things that I had Claude do here as well is that I asked for it to go and get some form of criticality indicator to the change too. And so this deterministic workflow, it was basically keying off of files changed and the amount of code written. But oftentimes that's not the best indicator as far as whether or not something needs an external reviewer. Sometimes it could be a one-line change, but if that one-line change has a tremendous impact on, 20 plus other files or scripts, then that would, require a review from an external reviewer. And so I asked it to do that. Then I also asked it to make some other changes here to get me a report. And I have one final prompt that I actually am giving it here too, which we'll see what will come out of that, where I said, hey, is there anything else related to the change that you think would be good to do to ensure that this is really solid and I won't have to revisit this again? Feel free to call out to other AI reviewers as well if you have not already done this too. And so it said, yes, 3 real graphs. I should be straight about them. And so it's getting a non-Anthropic panel reviewing this too and getting that review done. So this is a good command, I would say, sometimes when you're doing something that is a critical change that you want to make sure you get right. And so just ask itself to check its own work too. In a similar way that if you were working with a teammate on a really critical project, you all would want to check your own work and revisit it as well too at the end. And so to go over the final replay report here are the different things that it has done for me, where it's helped me build out my operations workspace, content workspace for this Git ship flow, where it seems like these different adversarial reviews of different AI coding agents and the Git ship workflow was being held within other spaces. And it also, I should mention, tested it against previous pull requests too. And so that's where this is coming from to make sure that, hey, is this skill actually working too? And so here's the bugs it found, the findings, and then the behavior change, which also leads to our suggested task up here. And if I want to check this in the web, I have these different pull requests now with the code differences here, where I can see, all right, what is the summary, the files changed, and then exactly what's going on within these other repositories, which AI Friend Review is the only public one. The other ones are my internal repositories that I utilize to help run my business too. Okay, it's been a couple hours since I began this video, but everything is now landing in its place, where it did some end-to-end tests on everything to ensure that our external review is working, our Git ship process was working. And you can see here, I am just testing for outcomes, right? I'm not diving too deep into the code, given that what I want to evaluate this skill on and the set of skills is that it's doing the thing that I want it to do. Right. And so I'm not going to pretend to be an expert in all the code that it's writing, but I want to make sure that the code reviewers are running in situations where it makes sense and that it's ultimately shipping the code that I'm having it build and cleaning up everything afterwards too. And so we can see that in another related or actually unrelated branch here, I have issued the Git ship skill here, and it's doing all these different reviews, given that this is a complex change that I've been working on in the background while also recording this video. And so it's working as expected, where I didn't have to tell it to do an AI external panel. It's launched sub agents. So it's doing the final review of this code. And then the other portions of the suggestions for the tasks that it said to do are now running here, where it's fixing the build plugin release gate, which again, this isn't something I know a tremendous amount about to be honest. It is something technical that I'm going with Claude's suggestion in here and working to understand, hey, what does this actually mean? What does this actually amount to as I'm going through the fixing too? And so if I go back to our ship flow, then it is now adding in the 26 findings into our pull requests, which if I click this, it opens up on another window. So let me drag it over here, which I've dragged it over here now. And then I can go down and see these 26 findings, which there are 9 officially that are fixed. And then also we have 10 through 26, which are from the different sub reviewers of lower priority levels around this change that's going into place too for what is actually being done for this get ship skill. And then also here we have the Gemini reviewer from the peer review panel that I had this peer review panel for my videos to make sure that they were all accurate too and that the research was completed correctly too. And so Gemini is now dropped from that, given that it's dead, at least the Gemini CLI. It's been replaced with anti-gravity CLI. And then I have here another pull request that now has these different changes incorporated on it for AI friend review. And so if we go back here, I actually launched another command while I was transferring screens there just to say to merge it once the reviewers come back clean. But I will leave this video here where we started feels like a long time ago, but we had this insights here that took us to a place where it said, hey, you do this all the time, right? You run reviewers, you ship your code. So maybe it's a good idea for when you ship your code to add the reviewing component into that too. And obviously that has taken shape and changed a little bit as I've reviewed the different code, but it's led to what I would call a better workflow process where now I don't have to run those two things separately. I have it automatically run. I have critical code fixes prioritized and implemented. And so now I have a much better code review process and shipping process that's going to lead to more reliability and less bugs. So thank you so much for checking out this video on how I analyze my workflow, how I implement changes and improvements to the workflow. If you get a next step out of this video, run that insights command for yourself, see where it takes you, explore some different areas of changes you can make with Claude Code, about Claude Code itself too, because I've utilized it and it's been a really helpful feature and I feel like it is underutilized. And please, as always, like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. And thank you so much. I will see you in the next one.